Question 1. So write these numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. Well, obviously that's -8, -4, -0, 3 and 7. Part B, write these in order of size. Well, obviously this is the smallest one, as we only have numbers in the thousandth column. 0, 10, 0, hundreds, so this is the smallest. So it's got the 2 noughts after the decimal point. Then we've got the one number that's got 1 0 after the decimal point. And then 0.4, 0.407 and 0.8. Writing 3/5 as a decimal, well, you can just simply put this into your calculator. 3 over 5 equals to get your 0.6. And writing 0.9 as a percentage, well, 0.9 is 9/10, which is 90 out of 100, which is 90%. That can also just be done on your calculator. And find the number that is exactly halfway between 0.3 and 0.4. Well, hopefully you can all see that it's 0.35. But if you couldn't, you can find the average of these two numbers, because that gives you the number halfway between. So on your calculator, do 0.3, add 0.4 and get a total, halve it, and you'll get 0.35. Question 2. So this is a cone. This is called a prism. A prism is a three-dimensional shape where you've got a consistent cross-section. So really this is a triangle through and through. So if you were to cut it in slices along here, you just keep repeating the same triangle. So this is a prism. A cylinder would be a prism. You can get rectangles on the end or squares, but these are all prisms. Part 2, how many vertices does this shape have? Well, vertices means corners. So 1, 2, 3 at the front, 4, 5, 6 at the back. Part 3, how many edges does this have? Well, we all know what edges are. So we've got 3 edges on this triangle, 3 edges on that triangle at the back, and then really 3 edges as you join the 2 triangles together. So it's 9 edges. Now find the volume of the prism of this, and really that's just counting the cubes. So we've got 6 at the front, there's 6 at the back, so that's 12 in total. It says give the units. Well, we're told that centimetre cubes, so it's centimetre, and it's 3-dimensional, so make sure you've got centimetre cubed. Question 3. So which team scored the greatest number of goals on Saturday? Well, we can see the Blues have got 4 1/4 pies, so it's the Blues. On Saturday, the number of goals scored by one of the teams is twice the number of goals scored by the Reds. Which team is it? Well, the Reds have got 1 1/2 pies, so we're looking for the 3 pies, and that's the Jets. Now, we're now told that Newton scored 8 goals on Saturday. So if we look at Newton, and they've scored 8 goals, well, they've got 2 of these pies, so that must mean that each of the pies is worth 4, because we're told that they've scored 8 goals in total, and 8 goals across the 2 pies must mean 4 goals per pie. So that must mean each of the quarters in a pie is worth 1 goal. So that must be worth 4 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals, 2 goals, and so on. So how many goals did Jets score on Saturday? The Jets score, well, that's 4 add 4 add 4, which is 12. And how many did Oakley score? Well, that's 4 add 4 plus 2, which is 10. Question 4. Well, a 5-sided polygon is called a pentagon, just like that building in the United States. On the diagram, draw with arrows a pair of parallel lines. Well, the only lines that are parallel here are these 2. And part C, on the grid below, draw a triangle that is congruent to the shaded triangle. Well, you just need to know that congruent means exactly the same size, so just repeat the triangle. Question 5. So, how much change should Leslie get? Well, she buys 3 notebooks at $1.59 each. So on your calculator, work out what 3 lots of 1.59 is. And that's $4.77. Then 2 pencils at 0.85, so 2 times 0.85 is 1.7. Then 5 lots of 0.45, 2.25. Add those 3 up, and she's spending $8.72. Now she pays with a $20 note, so do $20 take away $8.72 and we get $11.28. Now for part B, Pritam has $50 to spend on glasses. Each glass costs $2.40. Buys as many as he can. How many does he buy? So you start off by doing 50 divided by $2.40, and that gives you 20.83. Now be careful now. Don't do what you normally do when you just sort of round up numbers. Do not put 21 down. What we're saying is that he could buy 20.83 glasses. Well, you can't buy part of a glass. So the number of glasses that you can buy is only 20, and you can have a little bit of money left over. So the answer is 20. Question 6. Well, centimetres, cent means 100, like scoring a century. So we're going to be dealing with 100. Well, converting metres into centimetres, centimetres are tiny, so we're going to get lots of them for 4.5 metres. So we're going to be having to multiply. So 4.5 times 100, which is 450. Now, cent is a century is 100. All the others really are 1,000. So whether it's a milli or kilo, always go for 1,000. So we're going to be using 1,000. But now we're going for moving from something very small into something much bigger. So we're going to be having fewer of them. So we have to divide. So this is 8,900 divided by 1,000, which is 8.9 kilograms. Question 7. Now, which of these fractions is equivalent to 2/3? So if we just focus on the equivalent fraction, we can see that it's 12 over 18, because 12 over 18, if you divide top and bottom by 6, you get 2/3, so 12 over 18 is the answer. Now, if you're not comfortable working your way along and just looking for the equivalent fraction, you could, with your calculator, decide just to change all of these to decimals. So you could do what's 2/3 as a decimal and just write the answer up there, and then go along here writing each of these as a decimal and see which one crops up being the same as 2 over 3. And you'll see that this is 0.66666, and so is 12 over 18. Now for part B, work out 3/7 of 840. Well, use your calculator. Just use the fractions button, which is the one that is third down on the left hand side. So use that fractions button, the one with the white rectangle over the black rectangle. Put a 3 in the white rectangle, a 7 in the black rectangle. Use the blue circle button in the middle to get out of the fraction. Multiply that by 840 and you get 360. Alright, and in short, you're just doing 3 divided by 7 and multiply all of that by 840. Now, we're told there are 240 cars in a car park. 96 of these cars are red. What fraction of the cars in the car park are red? So it's 96 out of 240. Now, I can't remember. If we go and put 96 out of 240 in our... just doing it now, if we put that into our calculator, yes, it gives us 2/5. So really 96 over 240, if you put that into the fractions button on the calculator and press equals, it automatically takes you to 2/5. So given we've got the luxury of using a calculator on this IGCSE paper, just simply put your 96 over 240 into your fractions button, press equals, and you get 2/5. So how have you done that? Well, we're really just simplifying. So I've halved and halved again, halved again, halved again, then divided by 3 to give me 2/5. Now for part D, we've got to give this some thought. We're told 2/9 of a number is 8. What is the number? So if 2/9 of a number is 8, what must 1/9 be? Well, that's got to be half of the 8, which is 4. So 1/9 of our number is 4. Now we want the whole number, so we want 9/9. So we take our 4 and we multiply it by 9, giving us 36. So 36 is the number because 2/9 of 36 is 8. 1/9 of 36 is 4, so 2/9 would be 8. Question 8. Write down a word from the box that best describes the likelihood of each outcome. So part I, a person chosen at random will have the birthday on 29th of February. Well, that's the leap year day, so that only happens once every 4 years. So it can happen, but it's very unlikely. Now, the chances that the next baby born will be a girl, well, that's 50-50. The next baby born could either be a boy or a girl, and it's an equal likelihood. So 50-50 is evens. Now for part B, we take a yogurt at random, write down the probability she takes a banana yogurt. Well, there's one banana yogurt out of a total of 12 yogurts, so 1 out of 12 we write as a fraction 1 out of 12. Now a strawberry yogurt or a cherry yogurt, well, strawberries, there are 4 of those, 5 cherries, so there's 9 ones we want. 9 out of 12 is our answer. Now you could have simplified that to 3/4, that would be fine, but the question didn't ask you to simplify your answer, so 9 out of 12 would still give you the mark. Now part 3, what's the probability of getting a raspberry yogurt? Well, there isn't any, so 0 chance of it happening, 0 probability. Question 9. So this rule can be used to work out the cost in pounds of a taxi journey. Multiply the number of kilometres by 0.6 and then add 1.45. So we take our 12 kilometres, we multiply it by 0.6, so get an answer. So do 12 times 0.6 and get that on your calculator, add 1.45 to that and you get £8.65. Now part B, this is trickier. The cost of a taxi journey was £13.45. How many kilometres did we travel? So now we've got to work backwards. So let's think about what happened when we worked forwards. We multiplied by 0.6 and then we added 1.5. Now we've got to do completely the opposite operations in reverse order. So we're going to start off by doing the opposite of adding 1.45. So we're going to kick off by taking away 1.45 and getting an answer, and then rather than multiplying by 0.6 we are going to divide by 0.6. So we take our 13.45 cost of the taxi journey, we take away £1.45 to give us £12, we then divide that by 0.6 to give us 20 kilometres. So just so we're clear, if you took that 20 and popped it into what we did up in part A, so you took your 20, if you multiplied that by 0.6, then you added on 1.45, you would get your £13.45. So it's just the opposite operations in the opposite order. Question 10. And we've got to work out the value of x. Now the angles about a point add up to 360, so all of these must add up to 360. So 56 plus x plus 38 plus x altogether must equal 360. So we're going to kick off just by really just taking away all of these from 360. So if we do 360 and we take away the 56 and we take away the 38, that leaves us with 266. And that's what these two x's are. So 2x must equal 266. So 1x must be half of this, which is 133 degrees. Because what we're saying is 56 add 133, add 38, add 133 gives us our 360 degrees. Question 11. Well, this coordinate is 2 along the corridor to the left, and then 4 up the stairs. So that's -2, 4. Then part B, we've got to plot the point -4, -3. So the first one is for the x coordinate to the left, because it's a minus. So with 4 along to the left, then we're looking at the y coordinate. Well, we're going down because it's a minus, so down to -3. So -4, -3, that's where B is. Now on the grid we've been asked to draw the line with the equation x equals 3. Now be ever so careful here. The temptation is, because this is the x-axis, is to go and draw a line along here. But that is not where x equals 3. Now where x equals 3 is here, because it's all the points, it's the loci of points it's called, it's all the points where the x coordinate is 3. So let's take these 3 points here, for example, that coordinate is 3, 0, that one is 3, 1, that one is 3, 2. 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, and you can see consistently the x coordinate equals 3. So that is the line x equals 3. Question 12. Now we're being asked to work out the area of this compound shape. So the best thing to do here is just to choose to break it down into two easier simple shapes. So I'm just choosing to do a dotted line down here. So what's the area of this rectangle here? Well, its base is the same as this, which is 10. Its height is 11. 10 times 11 is 110. So the area of this bit is 110. Now what about this little rectangle here? Well, the first thing we've got to do is work out the length of the base here. That's not given anywhere. Now what you've got to do there is to realise that the length all the way across the bottom is 18, of which this little bit of it is 10 from up here. So what must this bit that's left over be? Well, it's obviously the whole lot of 18, take away the 10, which is 8. So that length there, the base of that rectangle on the right is 8, a height of 5, area of a rectangle, base times height, 8 5s are 40. So this area is 110, this area is 40, add them together, we get an area of 150. Now, for part B, we're being asked to work out the height of the cuboid, where the volume is this, the length and width is this. Well, to work out the volume of a cuboid, you do length times width times height, and all of that together equals the volume, which is 360. So we've got two of these, we've got the 9 and the 5, but we don't have the height. So 9 times 5 times the height is 360. 9 times 5 is 45, so 45 times the height is 360. So the height must be 360 divided by the 45, which is 8, because 9 times 5 times 8 is 360. Question 13. So 240 people are represented by the whole pie chart. So all the way around in degrees, so 360 degrees is the 240 people. So each degree represents 240 divided by 360. So if we were trying to work out how many people went on holiday, we would do 150 divided by 360 times 240, or visit relatives, we would do 60 degrees out of 360 degrees times 240. But as we're trying to work out how many of the people who came to Dubai came on business, we're going to do 105 divided by 360 times the 240, which is 70 people. Now we're being told that Tavish asked 300 people at an airport why they had come to Sri Lanka. 120 of the 300 said it was because they're on holiday. What angle would this be? Okay. So so it's 120 people out of 300 came to Sri Lanka for holiday. Now for degrees worth, we've got to decide how many degrees out of a total of 360 degrees. So really this is the sort of the ratio, the proportion we're looking for. 120 out of 300 people is how many degrees out of a total degrees, and it's about a point of 360. So how do we convert this fraction to this fraction? Well, look at the denominator. How do we scale up 300 to 360? Well, do it in reverse. Do 360 divided by 300, and we can see the multiplier is 1.2. To convert 300 into 360, we multiply by 1.2. So similarly, on the numerator, we're going to have to do 120 times 1.2. Which is 144. Question 14. List the members of the set P intersection I. Now those are the members who are in both P and I. So which letters are both here and here? So that's going to be the P, the T, A and the L. The T is in both, the A is in both, the L is in both. Now P union I means that they're in P or I or both. So it's all the members of Portugal and then those members of Italy that we haven't used already. So we're then going to be picking up the extra ones. It's going to be just the I and the Y. So it's Portugal and then the I and then the Y. So this is a complete list of letters that are in either the word Portugal or in the word Italy or in both. Now for part B, we're being told, is it true that I intersection F comprises of no members? So what we're saying is, are there any letters in the word Italy and in the which are also in the word France? What the question is saying is, that there aren't any letters that are both in the word Italy and France, because they're saying I intersection F equals 0. So this is false if we can find any letters that are in the word both Italy and in the word France. And there is A. A is in both words. So it is not true to say that there aren't any letters that are in both Italy and France, because A is in both. So tick to the appropriate box, which is no, and this is because A is in both sets. Question 15. So work out the value of m when t equals -3. So really you've just got to pop into your calculator this when you're substituting in -3 in place of 2. So it's 2 lots of -3 all squared, -3 times -7 times -3. Now just be ever so careful that when you put this into your calculator that you choose to put the -3 in a bracket, okay, because it protects the minus. You will find on your calculator if you do -3 squared with no brackets you get -9. Well, that is wrong, because the calculator is basically doing 3 squared and then attaching the minus. -3 squared means -3 times -3, which is +9. So to make sure the calculator appreciates you're trying to square -3, you must put the -3 in a bracket. So if you were to put into your calculator 2 open bracket -3 close bracket squared -7 open bracket -3 close bracket, it will give you the right answer of 39. I've just included these multiply signs here just to make it a bit easier to see, but you wouldn't actually need to put those multiplication signs into your calculator. Now for part B, to solve this, you start off by multiplying at the bracket on the left. So using the claw, you've got 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 3 is 12. So at that point, you've got 4x plus 12 equals 9x minus 10. Now we want to get all the x's onto the one side, and it's easier to have the x's on the side that's got the biggest number of x's to start with. So that's the right, because 9x is bigger than 4x. So we're going to choose to take away 4x from both sides. So on the left, we're left with 12, and on the right, we're left with 5x minus 10. So we're left with 12 equals 5x minus 10. If we then add 10 to both sides, we get 22 equaling 5x. If we then divide by 5, we get x being 22 divided by 5, which is 4.4. Now for part C, we've got to write down all the possible values of y, where y is both greater than -2. Remember, we read from the middle. That bit there means y is greater than -2. And on the right, where y is less than or equal to 3. So what values are greater than -2? Well, that's -1, 0, 1, etc. And what's less than or equal to 3? Well, that includes the 3, so that's 3, 2, 1, etc. So the values we need to include are -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Question 16. So we've got to change pounds into rupees. So £250 we're going to change into rupees. So we're obviously going to be using 97. Do we multiply or do we divide by 97? Well, going from pounds to rupees, we need to get a bigger number. So how do we get from 1 to 97? It's got to be bigger, so we're going to multiply by 97. So it's 250 multiplied by 97, which is 24,250. Now, with regard to part B, work out how many pounds that Lynn gets. So she's got 4 500 rupee notes, so obviously that's 4 times 500, which is 2,000 rupees. Well, we're now going to be using the 93.5, but we're going from rupees to pounds. We want to get a smaller number, so we're going to have to divide by 93.5. So 2,000 divided by 93.5 is 21.39, ... So to the nearest pound, that's 21 pounds. Question 17. Now, to find the midpoint of two coordinates, it's the average of the x coordinates is the x coordinate, and the average of the y's is the y coordinate. So how do you find the average? You add them together and divide that by 2. So for the x coordinate, it's going to be -4 add 1 divided by 2, which is -1.5. And for the y coordinate, is 9 add 5 divided by 2, which is 7. So -1.57. Question 18. So the probability we'll win is 0.3. You're going to play 20 games. So estimate the number of wins you would expect to get. Well, you expect to win 0.3 times if you play once. So if you play 20 times, you would expect to win 20 times 0.3, which is 6. Now, for part B, we're being asked to work out the probability she will lose, and we know the probability she will lose is 3 times greater than the probability she will draw. So this is a bit tricky, so bear with me. So you can either win, lose, or draw. We know the probability of winning is 0.3. So the probability of either losing or drawing is 0.7. So then we know these two together add up to 0.7. Now if we say the probability of drawing is x, that's the smaller one, the probability of losing is 3 times that size, which is 3x. Now we know these two together have to add up to 0.7, so we're actually saying that 3x plus x, so 4x equals 0.7. So x is going to be 0.7 divided by 4, which is 0.175. So 0.175 is x. The probability of drawing is 0.175. So the probability of losing is 3 times this, 3 times x, which is 3 times 0.175, which is 0.525. Question 19. So we've got 6 batteries in a small pack of batteries, and there are 9 batteries in a large pack of batteries. Chow buys M small packets of batteries and G large packets of batteries. The total number of batteries Chow buys is T. Write down a formula. Right, so the quick way to do this is just to learn how to do the formula. So you say T equals, well, there are 6 batteries in the small pack, so that's 6 times M. And so plus there are 9 batteries in the large packets, so that's 9 times G. So really, if you just get used to these questions, you can just go straight through to saying T is 6 times M plus 9 times G, because 6 is the small batteries, M is the small batteries, 9 is the large packets, and G is the large packets. But if you just want to get a bit more of understanding, let's think about it. Let's just think about the small packets. Well, we've got 6 batteries per packet. So if we bought 5 packets, and there are 6 batteries in there, how do we work out the number of batteries? We just say 5 times 6 equals 30. If we had 10 small packets, 6 batteries in each, how would we work out the number of batteries? We do 10 times 6 equals 60. 3 packets, we do 3 times 6 equals 18. So whatever the number of packets, we just multiply by 6 to get the number of batteries. So if we've got M packets, it's M times 6 batteries, which is 6M. So there's your 6M, and obviously the same for the G's. Question 20. So to add fractions we need to get a common denominator. So both 12 and 8 go into 24. So focusing on the left hand side, let's make both denominators 24. So with this first term, 7/12, how do we convert this into something over 24? Well, 12 times 2 equals 24. So we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 2 sevens are 14. Now with the 3/8, how do we convert that to a fraction with 24 as the denominator? 8 3s are 24. So we also multiply the numerator, the top bit, by 3. 3 3s are 9. So we've got 14 over 24, add 9 over 24, add the numerators, that gives you 23 over 24 as required. Now for part B, whenever you're doing any of the operations, be it adding, taking, dividing, multiplying, and you've got mixed fractions, it's always best to turn them into top-heavy fractions first of all. So 1 2/3 is 5/3, 2 1/15 is 31 over 15. Now when you're multiplying, it's the simple, easy one. You just top times top, bottom times bottom. 5 times 31 is 155. 3 times 15 is 45. With divide top and bottom by 5, we get 31 over 9. Convert that into a mixed number, we get 3 4/9 as required. Question 21. So if each interior angle is 156, then each exterior must be 180, take away 156, which is 24. That's because an interior angle plus an exterior angle, they add up to 180 degrees. So each exterior angle is 24 degrees. Now what do we know about the exterior angles of a regular polygon? They always total 360 degrees. So if they total 360 degrees and each of them is 24, then how many exterior angles are there? Well, there must be 360 divided by 24, which is 15 exterior angles. So if there are 15 exterior angles, there are 15 sides. Question 22. So we've got M, L and N, and they are sharing out £420. So they're sharing in the ratio 4 to 5 to 3, which is 12 shares in total. So £420 shared across the 12 shares means there's £35 per share. So M gets 4 lots of 35, L gets 5 lots of 35, N gets 3 lots of 35, which is 140, 175 and 105 respectively. Now we're then told that Liam gives Ned £75. So £75 moves from Liam to Ned, meaning that Ned ends up with 105, add 75, which is £180. Now that's £180 out of £420. Now as a percentage therefore, that's 180 divided by 420 times 100, which is 42.85 ... So to the nearest whole number, that is 43%. Question 23. Now, the y's are already lined up because we've got 5y and 5y. It doesn't matter that the signs are different. The y's are already lined up. So what makes sense to do now, because the signs of the 5y are different, is to choose to add the two equations together. Because minus 5y added to 5y means the y's cancel out. So if we add the two equations together, we get x plus 3x is 4x. The y's cancel out, like I just said. 14 add 2 is 16. So 4x equals 16. So x equals 16 divided by 4, which is 4. Now, to work out the y value, we need to go back and substitute this value for x of 4 back into one of the two original equations. It doesn't matter which one. I've chosen to use the second one. So I'm using 3x plus 5y equals 2. Now I've just worked out that x is 4, so this number here is 4. So 3 4s are 12. So 12 add 5y equals 2. Take away 12 from both sides, we get 5y equaling minus 10. divide both sides by 5, we get y being minus 10 divided by 5, which is minus 2. So x is 4, y is minus 2.